All right. Testing, 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 testing. Um, okay. Testing, 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 testing. Is the audio okay? Let's see. All right. Hopefully the audio is fine. Let me check. Okay. Um, today today we're gonna try to hit a more science-based. I'm thinking arms and forearms. So yeah, this is gonna be a more science-based pencil neck style of lift. Since I'm kind of tired, we're gonna be taking a more easy way out, and the idea I have for more science-based lifting in a, I guess you would call this a home gym setup. I've got a I've got a pipe right here attached to a landmine platform, and I just wanted to talk about the versatility of a martial arts belt for overall lifting, and why you should probably think of getting one. Mm, I've gotten a notification from Amazon that my account will be going down if I can't make the qualifying purchases. So I think I'll be making some videos on some easier, cheaper things that I still think are very valuable or bring value to anyone's training. I've thought of things like soft loop tie down straps, um, like a Nordic curl that you put under a door, like the doorway Nordic curl, um, like doorway pull up bars, things like that. Overall, basic things. And on that note, one thing I do want to mention is just the martial arts belt. Arm wrestlers use it. I've seen Devin use it, arguably one of the greatest arm wrestlers ever. Use it on Juji Mufu's channel when he did the home gym tour. So yeah, with a belt, I think we can do a ton of um, forearm work. Forearm work the arm wrestlers do, and I'm going to do another thing where we can use it for landmine lifts to hit landmine isolations and optimize a more science-based style of lifting where grip is out of the equation and it's maximally stable, things like that. Overall, I think for natties or honestly any trainee, heavy compounds is most likely the way to go. We can see this all the time anecdotally, so I don't think the hyper optimized literature, like the science based, where they attach wrist cuffs to everything and everything is so stable. But we're going to be taking some of those ideas for this training session because I'm tired. I wanna be able to push semi hard while making things easier. So getting rid of stability, getting rid of grip, training things to failure, and I think this setup, this landmine setup, right? It's very stable, and the strength curve is so that it's harder at the bottom and easier at the top. which is a nice strength curve, and why you should probably get a martial arts belt um, for lifting purposes. Uh, yeah, I'll put a link of it um, in the affiliates. Maybe I still have like close to 90 days, so it's fine really. And if my account goes down, I'll just get rid of the links links anyways, right? It's not a big deal. This this is about training foremost, or at least that's obviously the most important part. So yeah. All right, the mic keeps dying on me, so hopefully hopefully I can get this before it dies again. But I just want to show how I tie the belt for what I'm going to be doing with it. Is I would fold it in half, form a loop like how I would tie a regular knot if I feed these two ends through. But instead of just feeding it through, I would fold that in half and then feed the folded end through that loop, and I'll tighten it down. The folded end forms another loop so that if I want to quickly untie it, I can just pull onto this strap, and using this setup, I can put standard weight plates on it, and I believe this should work with 2-inch Olympic as well. We'll try that later. But if it doesn't, you can just put a small standard weight plate and then just stack 2 pounds on top of that. So that's this one. And we're going to be using this for a lot of arm wrestling work on supination, pronation, and ulnar deviation, I think. And obviously, those movements have slight variations, but clearly, I don't know enough about arm wrestling to tell you the differences, other than they feel different. But you could hold it this way for motions, right? This way for motions, and then there's the variations of those by like straight around the thumb, or from the wrist to the thumb, or from the wrist to over your fingers for ulnar deviation, and towards the thumb side for is this one pronation? I think so. Yeah, pronation, and then through the thumb, supination. So there's the variations. Similarly, you can use this in a gym setting with a cable tower. If you attach a carabiner and anywhere here, this loop should be strong enough as I'm pulling in two directions. I'm clearly not that familiar with my knots, but I think it'll take a ton of weight before it'll get undone, and I don't think it will. And it's still easy to untie though, as long as you break this loop by pulling on this end here, it'll easily untie. Forming the first loop section, you can adjust how long or how large you want this loop to be, which is what we're going to be using later for when I'm doing some science-based lifts, so I can have my hand through as like a wrist cuff of sort, so I don't have to use my forearms and let my grip be the limiting factor. Or similarly, if the loop was long enough, I can make this clover hitch type motion or pattern, I think, around bars and things like that. All right, so that's that one. And if I made the loop smaller, like started the knot from here and made this loop smaller, I can attach it to my foot to do some pretty creative hip flexor movements, hip cars, or whatever, by pulling my leg up, train my hip flexor, which is pretty untrained in most people. And if you adjust it properly, you can attach plates to do some light tib raises, maybe leg extensions, things like that. Like light accessory work, maybe work on the stability, because the free weight would just be moving and you would need to stabilize said forces. You wouldn't be able to train hamstrings, or I haven't figured out a way to do it, but just the ability to train your hip flexors with a simple tool is a pretty big deal, as it's pretty neglected. And obviously, all the arm wrestling motions that I talked about, we see like Devin Barrett, arguably the greatest, or Lorrat, I don't know, arguably one of the greatest arm wrestlers ever. In his home gym tour on Juji Mufu's channel, we can see him doing pronation, or is it rising? I don't know. I don't know my arm wrestling type movements at his house. So it's a good tool. Okay, yeah, so for Olympic plates, I worry it'll slip through. So if you want to use this at a gym, get yourself a small 2-inch plate. No, not 2-inch. 1-inch standard plate that's like 2.5 pounds, and you want to put it right here. Then you can stack whatever amount of weight you want. Kind of like this. That'll fit perfectly, and I don't think it'll go anywhere. Yeah, I don't know what I said, if what I said was heard or not, but what I was saying is when I'm doing these curls, I guess I'm not sure like which way to stand, if that'll change the lever arm or the force curve or whatever. I guess it does slightly, but it doesn't matter that much. But what I was saying is I start the curl supinated, right? And then as I fatigue, I rotate. I guess these are pinwheel curls or cross body curls because I'm curling sort of this way. But it's first palm up, and then after I get tired, I turn it into a mechanical drop set by pronating and having my thumb up. So I do these hammer curls. It uses the, what do you call it, brachialis more, like the forearm thing, and it makes the curl a bit easier. So we're using that as a fatigue strategy. I guess I don't know. Do science based lifters do that these days, or is it useless? I'm not sure. Yeah. I think I think there was the enhanced games today. Does anyone have any opinions about that? Um, I think there was a lot of personal bests being done by the athletes. I don't think any world record was broken, which was like a big deal or a big thing about the event. Like the goal was to try to break records and whatnot, but I don't think uh, I don't think anyone managed to do it. So I don't know if this is commentary on the Olympics, commentary about the enhanced games. If anyone has any opinions about it, leave them below. And I'm going to train neck now. Right, do some neck extensions. I think it's pretty important, pretty neglected for most people. I use a teeth lifting bit that I made myself. If anyone wants a video about that, let me know. But that will be me talking about another cheap gym item. This one's more for home gym, not public gyms, but these soft loop tie down straps. I got this idea from, I think it's Design Build Lift or something. You'll be able to find it on YouTube, and he has, I think, 3 videos explaining all sorts of uses of soft loop tie down straps. I don't want to just regurgitate what he's been saying. I'll leave a link so I can hopefully keep my affiliate account open for Amazon. But Design Build Lift, it's his idea. So go to his channel and support him. But I'm gonna attach this to here, and then notice how it's attached to the bar, like the belt is attached to the bar with that clover hitch thing I was talking about. Makes things pretty easy, and we can easily hitch that through the soft loop tie down strap. So soft loop tie down strap, super versatile. Watch the channel to get more ideas, but it can help with storage, it can help with attachments. If you're super OCD about equipment, it gets rid of the metal on metal contact sometimes, which is nice. I think if I had a V bar to do like the landmine rows that Arnold used to do or whatever, they would just have it contacting the bar. So with a soft loop tie down strap, it gets rid of some of that metal on metal contact. I guess another tip is if you do get a landmine, I'm not sure if you have if you're not super anal about your equipment like how I am, you could use a regular barbell. But this is galvanized pipe, I got through some research or just me Googling on the internet. It's not supposed to bear so much weight if you use it as a regular bar. So definitely get a actual barbell if you want to do barbell lifts. Maybe if you're starting out or if you're weak like me, you can use it as a regular bar. But I would not go very heavy with it, right? But with a landmine, since it's a fixed to one point, it'll be a class two lever, I think. Right? It's just a lever. When it's on your back, it creates like a fulcrum. There's the man. Clearly, I can't pass physics, but it'll have weight on both sides, and it'll lever on the middle of your traps, right in the middle, and these two forces will cause it to bend. And unlike a barbell, it wouldn't like bend and bounce back with that yield. If it passes the bending point, it'll just permanently deform. So if you're going to get yourself a pipe, it's kind of like an axle bar, right? It's thicker, but it's not it's not the same diameter as the end of a barbell. So you can actually cover it with tape and plates still slide on it, prevent some of that scratching going on. And the collars I use, like the screw-on collars, they still work. I think one of my clamp collars they don't work as well, so just keep that in mind. Worst case scenario, you can screw them with these hose clamps, right? That's what's keeping the plates on here, the hose clamps. So that's also a method. If you're starting out, not a bad idea. Once you improve though, the load bearing capabilities is just honestly not good enough for you to make good progress. So having it on a landmine, you can put much more weight, put it on one end, it'll be safe, and you can lift pretty heavy. Also, yeah, like what I was bringing up before, if you use a barbell, that like the barbell is meant to have pressure going downwards, not really the when it's tilted, that sideways pressure going through it. I don't think it's good for the bearings or if it's not as expensive, the bushings of the bar for it's just not as good. With this pipe, the diameter it rotates fine, even with a layer of tape, so it wouldn't be metal on metal scratching, right? Tape tape wears away. Just wrap more duct tape. But whatever. I'm OCDing about this. If you have the money, use a beater bar. It's okay. But if you're starting out, I'm telling you, bar's cheap. It'll take forever to cut though. Get like the 10-foot bar, 10-foot pipe, galvanized pipe. Cut it down. I think ideally you'll have like two others you can use for dumbbell handles. I think Shirley, I don't know his last name, but that's a good channel. It's a strongman channel. Has great tips. I think he's got a kid recently, so congrats to him. You know, and that's where I got the idea from. He loaded it with like 500 pounds or something, some crazy number. I would not recommend doing that. Not that I can lift that much, anyways, but I would not recommend using that much weight. I hope he makes an update on how that bar is doing because through my research, through my research online, you should not be loading galvanized pipe to weights that heavy. It's a terrible idea. But I guess I don't know. I guess they can replace equipment. Things go bad. Nah. But yeah, I'm gonna try to do some neck exercises. The landmine does a really good job making light weights feel really, really heavy. Usually I can teeth lift or neck curl or whatever you want to call it a good amount more weight, but just having 10 pounds on the end of this thing feels pretty crazy. I like the strength curve. Like I said before, the weight feels lighter the more it's up here because it's like this angle, right? So if the weight's over here, it's the furthest away from this arc, right? This axis of the axis of rotation from there. So as it's coming up the ground, the lever is shortening, which makes it theoretically easier at the top and heavier at the bottom. It's not as noticeable for these neck extensions because the ROM is so short. Same thing for the wrist exercises. The ROM is so short that this this change in weight is not as noticeable, or not change in weight. God damn it. The hmm, the I don't know, the change of like the feeling of it, the strength curve. Yeah, yeah, that's a better terminology. But the strength curve of it, it's heavier at the bottom, which is good for a lot of hypertrophy movements. That neck exercise, it's still heaviest when my neck is fully stretched, and then it lightens up near the concentric. It's good for, I guess, bicep curls, more weight in the stretch position. There isn't really a loaded stretch, I guess, because when it's completely down, right, there's no force, right? Because we got the roommate out, but what was I talking about? The right, when bicep curling, the elbow is still a fulcrum, so yeah, that does something. The weight in that case is the heaviest when it's right here at 90 degrees, because with similar logic to the lever, that right here would be the longest lever arm. So those things still apply, even with this. This just complicates the system, I guess. Yeah. Another point, though, the landmine is pretty stable. One point of it is fixed. A lot of its motions, while it can move semi freely in space, it's much stable, or much more stable than just purely free weights. So I think it's nice. I guess like free weight purists who never train with machines would never need that, I guess. But as a person who likes variety, and I started lifting mainly using machines, it's pretty nice. So yeah. All right. I actually figured out something different. Like previously, I was doing those lateral raises with this. I guess this would be the opposite of a Keenan flap, but we see science-based lifters put the cuff like super at their elbow. So I guess there's no activation in what, like the biceps. I'm just trying to move this joint up this way. I mean, it decreases the lever arm, right? It's from here to here. So a major lever arm decrease. So it should be much easier. And it would not use my bicep, my forearms, pretty much anything. This is like a Dr. Mike style, like uh, lateral raise, like the side delt isolation type thing. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I have to give the. It does feel pretty cool. Not trying to go full science based, but it's pretty cool. Might keep it around in these in or keep this as an exercise in the rotation because it's pretty cool. Yeah, I forgot which creator it was, but he said that when doing lateral raises, I should try to flare my lats because when you shrug your traps, you can't flare your lats, and when you flare your lats, you can't shrug your traps. So if I try to do a lat spread type motion, even though I barely got any lats, but if I were to try to do that motion, I would be able to isolate my side delts better. This is clearly very science based. But yeah, it feels pretty decent. Um, I don't know if I'm taking the tip or that advice the best, but yeah, I think it's legit. I forgot which, so many Instagram reels. I forgot the person talking about it. Uh, I'll link it if I find it again, or if someone knows what I'm talking about. If you know ball, if you know ball like that, uh, yeah. We are low key making discoveries out here. Um, that one arm shrug, right? I guess I'm kind of leaned forward, so it's like a Kelso shrug. Like, I guess I would have to be this leaned forward to be a Kelso shrug. Very, very science based of me. But honestly, like having my arm through the belt, there's no grip limitations. But this shrug, Loki feels insane. Yeah, it feels pretty good. The strength curve thing, since the range of motion so small, like I don't feel it that much, but it's noticeable. The increased stability for sure too. So I think it would make sense if I load this a bit heavier and do some shrugs. But that honestly felt really good. So let's see. Let's see if I like it with some heavier weight. Or we're low key making discoveries out here. that low key sucked. Um, Not because of the exercise. I think what happened was there's too much force going in this direction when I pull it. When the this is like some physics right now. I got to do some free body diagrams. But when I have this belt over here, uh, closer to the pivot point on the lever, it has it has some kind of force, some moment going that way. And what happens is, I guess I don't have enough counterweight, so it's pushing on here. I thought if I centralize the weight onto one peg, I don't know if you can see it from there, but if I centralized it here, I thought it wouldn't, but there's just still too much. I probably have to bring out my 45 plates for that. But what fixed it was, I guess, if someone's better at like fucking the free body diagram stuff, the dynamics, I guess statics, they can figure out why moving the belt thing to here, further down the further down the lever, or not, or not the lever, but the pivot point, right? I guess so. I'm pulling more this way, keeps it in place rather than it pushing against it. It seems to be better. It's what, like two plates, fifth, or not two plates, 225s, and like a 10 pound, so it's like 60. Feels much heavier though. Not a bad, not a bad shrugging stimulus. At least I think so. I think I mean my physique is pretty mid overall, but I think traps is it's not a weak point. I mean, it's not a weak point if everything's a weak point. Um, I guess it's more developed. I don't know, but yeah. So either I guess I need more counterweight. Moving the belt to the front was definitely a good idea, though. It does feel pretty nice. Um, I'll do another set or so, see how I feel. It feels good, I think, definitely. And oh yeah, onto the landmine. If you're gonna get a landmine, I think instead of getting the ones that just go in, obviously if you have a rack, probably get a rack attachment, or maybe not because you can't move it around as much. Um, I don't know. Okay, but if you're gonna get a landmine attachment, I don't think you should get the one that just plugs into some plates. I think I don't know the physics, but if that part's too heavy and sometimes the weight distribution, whatever, this this pull, this lever decides to do something, it'll like pull out of the plates or whatever that you got. So I think get like a platform, and if you can then load the platform, that's probably your best bet. Get a landmine that has like plate holders, a bar holder like this one has. I mean, I guess you saw it kind of tilt that way, so it's not perfect. I think if I was on actual matted surface, hard surface, maybe it'll be better. I just gotta add more counterweight or to increase in more like a friction force to prevent it from sliding. I'm sure the tarp doesn't help. There's some like metal bits and rocks and stuff in this turf, or there's those like seeds of the spiky plant that I sometimes step on. Yeah, I don't want that on my equipment. I mean, preferably I don't step on them that much either. So yeah, I think if I brought out my like 45 pound plates and put them here, that'll have more than enough static friction to stop this thing from moving. But I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, enough complaining. I do like this the shrugging motion. I think I'll do some. I think I'll put the belt around here again, do some rows, and we'll call it there. Landmine rows. I don't know. I thought what are those rows called? I saw Alex Leonidas talk about them. I think it's just landmine rows, like OG bodybuilding. Let's see, but I'm pretty sure it's optimal. Landmine rows are optimal. There's like that one arm variation from the goat. May he rest in peace, John Meadows. So there's that too. Let's see if I can find this video. Oh, T-bar rows. See, T-bar. But I don't have a T-bar. Like, is it very different? There's like that V-bar thing too, right? Like the one for like lat pull downs. I don't know. Yeah, these rows are awesome. They feel so good. The strength curve, the stability, the mind muscle connection to the back, they feel crazy. So get yourself a belt. It's cheaper than some attachment. You can have slightly more ROM. You're pulling into the bar, or you're pulling into the belt, right? The belt can fold against you, right? But I think that's the problem. If it's over here, there's too much weight on this side, and it's right here. I think it forms like a. It'll treat this belt as the lever, right? It'll use it as like, or would it be the fulcrum? Yeah, it'll use that as a fulcrum, and then this lever plus the weight is just too heavy compared to that side. And while it has like the counterweight going down that way, it doesn't really prevent it from tipping a little bit, you know? I think maybe if I placed a plate under those, so it'll be like a solid one, and as it tips, it'll go against it. Maybe it'll fix that issue. But by changing where that fulcrum is to up here, and then I'm rowing more towards the weight, it gives. I guess then if the fulcrum point's right here, all this weight would be on this side. So no matter how much I pull, it wouldn't have that tipping effect. I don't know. I barely pass my classes. If someone please show me the calculations, if all of this is if all of this is wrong, just let me know. Give me and the people a better explanation to why these things are happening. Clearly, I'm not smart enough for that. Um, I actually had a job interview at McDonald's today, so there's that. All my summer, not even summer, but all my intern requests, my intern applications, um, didn't succeed. I got no replies back. Uh, Side gigs kind of suck, you know. Trying to like drive in food delivery. It's not great. So yeah, got a job interview today at McDonald's, the Mickey D's, and hopefully we can get some work. Yeah. Just put the fries in the bag, I guess. Just put the fries in the bag. We'll hit another set, and we'll see. Okay. That wasn't too bad, I guess. Still, same problem. I placed the plates underneath here to see if it'll go into it and push back against it, but it still didn't work. I guess I guess my explanation was wrong, but maybe if it's like too low, that starting point causes it to tip or push or something. I don't know. So using this to elevate the starting position um, seems to have helped that. And yeah, for another item that I think is nice, especially for home gym use. Or I guess if your gym doesn't have one of these, it'll suck. But it sucks more. Um, it sucks more if you have a home gym. Uh, I guess I'm just complaining so much. But I take all my weights and stuff out from my room, from the window, right? And having a deadlift jack makes loading the bar just so much easier. And I know it's not a big deal, but when I'm tired, right, I've done school work, I went to go train, I want to lift a little bit after. Just having that, the deadlift jack to make putting plates on, just so much easier. Same thing with taking plates off and stuff. It greatly um, increases my will to live. I mean, will to train. I know you can slide like a plate underneath it, right? Slide a small plate underneath it makes it easier. But the deadlift jack, it's so nice. I'm telling you, actual lifesaver. Uh, it definitely, as a quality of life thing, it's great. Okay, I think I'll get like one more set and then call it a day. Oh man. Oof. One more set, I think. Or maybe one set, we'll strip a plate, do a drop set. It's Memorial Day on Monday. Happy Memorial Day. The martial arts gym is going to be closed. I might as well try to train harder today, you know? It's hard to balance this lifting stuff, but I need to get stronger. Okay. I don't know. I think it's still slid on that one. I got no solutions. Next thing to try is to throw my bigger plates, my 45s back here. Or maybe, I don't know, throw more counterweight. Or who cares? You know, it slides a bit. Big deal, you know. I gotta stop worrying about this stuff. Um, yeah, it's like, it's like tilting back. But, nah, it's still fine. It's not a big issue. Training's good. Um, yeah, I think that's it. It'd be cool if I do some like bar stuff after this. But who knows? Maybe it's not even worth it. You know, uh, like I'll be going into what's it called, science based. The what was it? Effective reps. Yeah, I'm way out of the effective reps, and then we're just doing junk volume. You know, the the pump doesn't build muscle. The what do you call it? The it's like it's not muscle tearing, you know. It's like mechanical tension. Uh, uh, I don't know. But yeah, such a cool row. Damn. Um, don't get me wrong. You need to be doing barbell rows as well. Can't miss the basic compound lifts. The big the big five. The big five. Even though my numbers are terrible, still got to work at them. Um, yeah. I don't know, because it's like when it's here and there's like, it's going this way, and then that thing just tips over. I think if I put 45s, this problem like wouldn't exist as much, because the 45 here would just get pushed into the ground like this way. But I don't know, because I guess it's like slanted, like the lever or the angle is slanted to the point where if force is going this way instead of the pivot arm turning this way, the forward moment just pushes it like this, and it tips like this instead of the lever arm going up. Um, Actually, you know what? If I put a plate like right here, like right at this T spot, it'd probably fix that issue. You know, I mean, like I said, I don't like metal on metal. Super OCD about this stuff. I might have a problem actually, but it's fine. I'll throw a towel on there, put a plate down there. It should work. Yeah, either that or 45s in the back maybe. I think that'll work too. I'm overthinking this. Uh, yeah, I guess I'm gonna put everything back now. Even with this deadlift jack, it's still not fun. Um, Good training session. I think. Do I want to do some extra bar stuff? Nah, I'm already too far past the effective reps. We are going into purely junk volume. So I am going to put everything back and we'll call it a day. Um, yeah. Okay. So, decent session today. Decent session today. Huge training volume. But I like landmine training. It's pretty fun. I would recommend it. For those items though, um, they should be decently cheap. Um, I hope I can get the the 3 or so qualifying orders to keep my affiliates open, but it is what it is. Um, Training's fun for me. These videos are just for fun, if anyone even watches them. So it'd be cool. It'd be cool if I can keep them open, but if not, forget it. We'll get rid of the links. We will rebuild from there once I get more experienced. Um, Maybe we can sell programs or something if anyone's into that. Coaching. um, but yeah, this stuff's for fun. It's not for monetary stuff. You know, that's for the other things. So I hope everyone's having a good day. Uh, yeah. Would anyone I don't know, would anyone tune into live stream style videos? Do I even have enough subscribers to do that? Uh, does YouTube let me do that? Cuz these training sessions are super long. So if I hold like live streams, would anyone be interested in like chatting in those? I'll see how everyone's doing. I don't know. That's just for fun, anyways. Oh.